Today is all about debunking soulmate myths. We're basically going to bust or break down, maybe cancel some of these faulty or negative ideas we might be holding about love and relationships. My name is 𝘂𝘂'𝗔𝗔. If I am connecting with you for the first time today, then it is lovely to virtually meet you. If we have connected before in previous talks, if you're a student or a client or a listener of my podcast, then welcome back. Okay, I'm going to go through 5 soulmate myths that if any of you are holding this, you need to bust it right now. You need to cancel, delete, get it out of your system. Number 1, there is only one perfect soulmate. A lot of movies and books emphasize on this idea of your one true soulmate. But here's what I've learned. There are plenty of soulmates available to us. And as we change and evolve, there is the most compatible, the most right soulmate for us at that time. 10 years ago, there might have been another perfect person for me. 5 years ago, there would have been a different soulmate for me. 2 years ago, there's someone else that would have been right for me at that time, because we keep changing and we keep evolving, which means who is right for us, who matches our frequency, our vibration, is going to be different. I always say we attract to us our energetic equivalent. Someone on the same vibration as us, someone as the same energy. That is your soulmate, the right person for you, your perfect match, the one. And at every given point in your life, that might be someone different. Now, does that mean if I find my soulmate 10 years ago, then he won't be my soulmate anymore the year later, or 2 years later, or 5 years later? No, that is not the case. So you connect with your soulmate, okay? And you make a choice to be with each other. So we have a choice, right? And then if you are really soulmate material, you are soulmate energy, you will grow with each other. As you evolve, your partner will evolve. And as your partner evolves, you will evolve with him. But sometimes one of these two people may not choose to evolve. So you could be soulmates, but life happens. Maybe there's karma coming in, maybe there's stuff you need to work out. And it could be that one person stays stuck. And because of that, you stop growing together, you start growing apart. And when that happens, yes, relationships can break up. But that does not mean you have only one chance at having a soulmate. Because at every point in life, there is someone who is the perfect soulmate for you. Now, there are plenty of fish in the sea. What does that mean? There's always someone available to you, okay? And there are all kinds. There are different cultures, nationalities, identities. There are so many available people to you. So do not walk around with this scarcity mindset that there aren't enough men for me, or at my age, there's no one available, or all the good ones are taken. None of that's true, because there's plenty of people out there. And if you're not attracting them, it's not because they don't exist or they're not there. The only reason you're not attracting them is because you're not allowing yourself to. You have a love block. That's the only reason why you'd be single, okay? Because you're blocking it. Myth number 2, I will know my soulmate when I meet them. All right, here's why this is a misconception. Many people I have worked with are actually with their soulmates. And they come to me being like, I want to break up or I want to leave my partner. Meanwhile, I'm scanning and I'm like, but this is their soulmate. It's just that they both have unresolved issues, karma, we often call it. Most of the time it's both of them. Sometimes it's one of them more than the other. So they're bringing this unresolved baggage from other times and places. You know, I'm talking about belief programs or genetic beliefs, right? That they're bringing into the relationship. And because of that, both people are often not behaving as their best version. They're almost bringing out the worst in each other. So it's quite possible you could be with your soulmate and not even know it. Sometimes your soulmate is right in front of you and you can't see it because you have so much baggage, unhealed relationship trauma, negative experiences from your past that you can't even recognize your soulmate is right in front of you. Other times, you might have already met your soulmate at some point in your life. But at that time you met, you weren't ready for each other. Maybe you were different. Maybe this other person had to still work through stuff in their life. Maybe you hadn't both become the versions of yourself that would have made you the perfect match. So chances are you might have already met your soulmate, or you might be in a relationship with your soulmate. You might be married to your soulmate, but life with your partner may not be so easy. But that's not because they aren't your soulmate. It's because you got to work on some of that stuff. You got to clean up some of those love blocks. Okay? And when you do, when you clean up your blocks, and sometimes all it takes is one person to do the work, because that actually influences the other partner to change with you. Subconsciously, they have a choice. But in most cases, if you're with your soulmate partner and you start to remove or work on your love blocks, they start to do it too, because you are energetically a match. So if you are working on yourself, somehow they get triggered to also work on themselves. And you both actually become each other's soulmate. Sometimes 20 years later. But you know what? Better late than never, right? Okay? And finally, you may have preconceived notions about this person that is not allowing you to recognize them as your soulmate. So a lot of times you may not pay someone attention, or you may reject someone in your mind because you have certain ideas which are actually your blocks. They're part of your blocks and they're keeping you safe from being in a relationship with someone who could truly love you. So sometimes these preconceived notions, which are coming from your blocks, will get in your way, which is why even though you meet someone, you may not recognize them as your soulmate. Sometimes you have to date someone for a while to finally realize they're your soulmate. The clearer you are, the more likely you are to recognize your soulmate when you meet them, okay? But if it takes you a little bit of time because, you have some blocks and things getting in the way, that's okay, as long as you don't push them away. As long as you take the time to be open and get to know them and then end up together. Myth number 3, soulmate relationships are effortless. They're easy, like you're never gonna have a fight. It's gonna be perfect. All unicorns and rainbows every single day. The thing is, relationships are not always going to be smooth, easy, unicorns and rainbows. They aren't, okay? But it's all about perspective. In my relationship with my partner, we have disagreements. We might even have a fight, okay? We might even not talk to each other for a couple of hours. Okay, we do have those things, but it's really easy to forgive. It's really easy to let go. It's really easy as long as you have the right perspective. So when I have an issue with my husband, right, I don't like, oh my God, he's horrible. He did this to me. I don't turn him into a villain. I try to understand, why is he acting this way? What's going on? What did I do to create this? I take responsibility. And so for me, it doesn't feel hard. It feels pretty easy, even though there's conflict, even though there are things we have to work at sometimes. It never feels hard, okay? But it's not always smooth sailing. There are things we go through as a couple together, and there are things that we have to go through and work out with each other. So as a couple, we might have to deal with challenges, and maybe with each other in the relationship, there might be challenges. But a soulmate relationship, and when you both realize and recognize that you are soulmates, okay, and you have worked on enough love blocks, it will feel easy. Does that make sense? Like You will deal with stuff, but it won't feel hard. It will feel doable. It'll never make you feel like, I want to give up, I want to break up, I want to get a divorce. You're not going to feel those things. But yes, you'll have to work at it, okay? Because one of the best ways we grow is in relationships. Why? Because we understand ourselves in relation to other people. How I react to my husband tells me a lot about myself. It tells me about how I'm feeling, or what is triggering me, or what is, my sensitivity. So we learn about ourselves through other people. We experience ourselves through other people is probably the best way to say it. Because if you're alone, it's just you. There's no way of learning. So you have to understand yourself in relation to other people. That's why you can't grow if you leave your family and go and become a hermit in a cave alone. You have to participate in the world. You have to engage with other people. And that teaches you a lot about yourself. That's how you grow. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be through conflict. It can be by choice. So there's a lot of trust. There is safety, security, and these are things that build in a relationship. They don't happen over time. And so you have to work at it. Relationships are like plants. They must be watered. You have to nurture your relationship. You have to constantly take out time for each other. So keep in mind, you have to work at a relationship. Myth number 4, soulmates complete each other. How many of you are like, I'm waiting for that one person who's going to complete me? The worst thing in a relationship is to feel incomplete and need the other person to complete you. That is a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for a relationship that's definitely going to go through a lot of conflict. The more whole and complete you are, the more complete each person is coming into the relationship, the less conflict there is. Because you are not expecting anything or seeking anything from the other person. So you're not going to get disappointed. One of the recurring patterns for people who have relationship challenges is disappointment and betrayal. Because you are expecting something from someone and they betray you or they disappoint you. But if you don't expect anything from them, you can actually just appreciate them. You can actually love them. You can actually give yourself what you need, what you seek. You can give it to yourself. You should give it to yourself. And then anything they give you is like a bonus. It's like, wow, I'm already full. And then I get all this love and attention. Remember, no one can fix you. No one can complete you. That's your job, honey. If you come into a relationship feeling incomplete, it's going to result in some issues, I would say, or challenges, such as unrealistic expectations of each other, codependency and attachment. It's not love. It becomes attachment. Codependency, you can't do anything without the other person. Okay, it becomes unhealthy, the relationship. So this is why you want to work on being whole and complete. Myth number 5, soulmate relationships are rare and elusive. Like they're hard to find. They're not like everywhere. Thing is, you guys, you can meet your partner anywhere. You can meet your soulmate when you go on a grocery run. You might not even look good. You might be in your sweatpants with greasy hair and your glasses, and you go get groceries and boom, you collide with the man you're gonna marry. Okay, sometimes it's just like that. There are 8.1 billion people in the world on this planet. Somebody out there has got to be your soulmate. And I think there's a lot of them. So it's not like you aren't going to meet them. The only reason we might think that it's so hard to meet your soulmate or to find that perfect one is because you see a lot of relationships around you that are imperfect. You see a lot of unhappy relationships around you. And that's because a lot of times the people around us got married for the wrong reasons. They didn't wait for their soulmate, so they just got married for security, for society, to have children because they were growing older, because they thought they were in love, whatever may be the reason. And so we're surrounded by these unhappy relationships, which make us think that these happy soulmate relationships are rare. They aren't rare. It's just if you either are single or are not in a happy relationship, you'll probably see a lot of those unhappy relationships around you. So you tend to attract what you see or experience. But there's like all these people out there in the world that are living these beautiful soulmate relationships. And honestly, I'm one of them. So look at me, I'm right in front of you. And I can point out so many people who actually have these beautiful soulmate relationships. And to me, it's not rare. It's something that actually is all around us. But maybe you just haven't seen it or found it, or you're just mirroring your negative beliefs or experiences with relationships.
Now that we've debunked those soulmate myths, let's look at what's really holding you back from love. Take my Love Blocks quiz to uncover the hidden patterns that could be getting in your way. Just answer a few questions and you'll get personalized results to help you overcome your specific love block. Go to the link on the screen or click on it on the description below to take the quiz. Let's get you from love blocked to ready for the love of your life. You are loved.